Hello and welcome back to the composition vlog. It's been about 4 weeks since I last filmed and I'm now filming in Australia, in Sydney, in my childhood bedroom actually. So this is my working space for the next couple of months. It's not very big to start with and it has a bed right in the middle of it, so I have very little floor space, unlike my studio at home. I do have a desk, which is where I am now, which is in a bay window, hence the lovely natural light. So I've been trying to work out ways to work here. Normally what happens when I come to Australia is I'm very focused on spending time with my parents because I'm only here for 3 or 4 weeks. And I tend to just put everything else aside so that I can spend some time with them because I only see them once a year. So this time though I'm here for 2 months and then I'll be heading back to the UK for some bastard assignments, commitments, and then I'll be coming back for Christmas and probably staying till late January. So I really do feel I need to work out how to work here, at least in some capacity. So I don't expect to really be getting a vast amount done. I do want to maintain momentum because I find if I just stop working, for a start, I get horrible nightmares, and for a second, it takes me ages to get back into it. And I don't really want either of those, oddly enough. Very strange. But surprisingly, work has been getting done. I've been sort of starting to develop a bit of a routine, which I'm hoping I'll be able to cement a bit more. In the past 36 hours, very exciting, I managed to get my computer up and running again. Oh, you have no idea how happy I am. If you saw the last episode, you'll know that as I left the UK, my disk had started to fail, and by the time I got here, the computer just wouldn't turn on at all. So between then and now, I've got a new disk. A very good friend invited me round for a lovely roast dinner and use of his screwdrivers, so I swapped the disk out and I've managed to actually back up the old disk and restore it onto the new disk, which feels like a miracle. It really does. There's definitely some stuff that's been corrupted, but all my main software seems to be working. So I'm up and running again, albeit in a slightly limping fashion, and I'll reinstall everything from scratch when I get home, but at least this will keep me going while I'm here. So that's been, very exciting. But in the meantime, I've been, starting to develop a little bit of a routine. Mostly I've been writing and drawing. There've been a lot of cafes involved, because it's just easier when I'm out of the house, really, for that sort of work to be sort of uninterrupted and in a neutral space. I've done some field recordings. I've done a little recorded improvisation, which is an idea for a new piece. And like I say, writing and drawing, that's sort of all sort of working together into other stuff, which I'll talk about in a moment. I have felt that quite a bit of stuff has been a bit constrained because of the lack of tech, which is ridiculous, I know, because I should be able to just forge ahead and make base material for things, and but no. So hopefully that'll pass now. So I did a couple of field recordings, mostly just because I wanted to have good recordings of, in particular, the dawn chorus of birds here. Thank you, jet lag. And the sound of Australian rain, which is one of the few things I really miss about being in Australia, is real rain. I mean, England has a reputation for rain, but really it doesn't know what it is. Half the time you don't even get wet. So I've made a recording of quite heavy rain. think they're going to go into a piece, but maybe something will come of them, who knows. I do think they are likely to be my next contribution to the trio project. Given that that project is about geographic separation and just being in different locations, I think it's actually quite relevant, although it feels a little cliched perhaps. But I think the state that that project's in at the moment, which is really just gathering ideas and sounds and whatever happens to come along, it might be of interest, it might not, and so I think I'll probably put that up as the next one now that I've actually got software so that I can cut out the bits of me fumbling with the recorder or, you know, sneezing in the middle of it or whatever else there might be in there. So the main thing I've been working on, given lack of tech and so forth, and sort of just trying to settle into a routine, I started working on a series of drawings which are kind of exploring the line as an indicator of a point of weakness in things. And this just sort of started as a fairly abstract kind of thing because I wanted to be doing something. So I took photographs of some of the rock formations in my parents' garden, things I saw in the street, etc. And just started doing this series of drawings using brush pens that sort of outline the points where, you know, I mean, for example, where concrete meets metal embedded in the pavement, but the edge of the concrete has all become all sort of chipped away because it's a weaker point than the middle of the concrete. And so at first this was just sort of an abstract thing to be doing, and I put them up as my last trio project contribution. And Misha and Leona both started sort of talking about how the drawings implied sort of layering of time to them. Yeah, which I found really interesting because it actually wasn't something I'd thought of at all to start with. But given that they're done in the altered book, and so you've got this content from 1948 on the page already, and then the drawing over the top of it, and it's made me sort of start to think about, well, what might the implications for the Britten Variations be in this? And so I've been working through that and done a number of these drawings and writing about them, and then sort of layering my writing on top of the original Britten writing and then the drawing on top of that. And I've got a couple more versions I think I'm probably going to do on this, but it's been helpful for trying to think about how what I'm doing, this sort of audio part for me in this piece, is going to relate to what I worked on with Amy in the rehearsal, and how that might possibly relate to the original Britten, and how all that might go together. Haven't really made any practical tests yet because I'd need to do an audio part, and I haven't yet finished downloading the videos that Amy sent me from the rehearsals. I'm literally downloading the second one as I record this. My parents' internet connection's very, very slow. So it's taking a while, and I'm just hoping that the links don't expire before I manage to get all of them. So I've also made a couple of recordings of me just talking about the state of the Britten Variations, like I was doing on video, but audio. Not much content there yet, and I think I need to start manipulating it to really have something substantial to talk about. And so, yeah, again, computer's back up and running. Hopefully this will progress more over the next few weeks. The other thing I did start thinking of was that I wanted to build on the vocal work that I was doing up at Snape for dot drip line 8918 edge. Yeah, I don't want that piece to be a one-off. I'd like there to be sort of more along that line that I can perform myself. I think being in Australia, I'm really quite keen to set up some performances here, and to do that I actually need things to perform. So it's quite, and it's a good way for me to sort of explore the part that performing plays within my practice as well. But I find it quite difficult to work vocally here. I don't have the space to move around in. It feels quite physically constrained. When my parents are here, it can be quite noisy, and so I find that quite difficult. So what I've started doing, I had this idea to have maybe a vocal piece, a series of short, very, very quiet movements, and then working with electronics to create more variation in terms of dynamics and texture. Yeah, so I'm hoping I can sort of make some progress on that. I mean, I've done one improvisation to start with. And yeah, so I'm going to do some more of those and just keeping them very, very quiet, almost whispered level, but then to think about what can then happen with that electronically to make it very, very dramatic. So that's about it for now. As always, if you've got any comments or questions, please leave them below. And I'll be back probably in another 3 to 4 weeks, given slower rate of progress here. Yeah, with another update. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.